With the passing of Charlie Kirk, there's something that we should talk about. God doesn't need or want you to be Charlie Kirk. My name is Brad Paquette. This is the Company Podcast. Stick around and see what I mean. I've followed Charlie Kirk for a long time. Long before the recent events that took his life, long before the controversy that we've seen online since that has happened. I've been following him and watching his videos. I've seen tons and tons of his content. And what I can tell you is that Charlie Kirk would give the microphone to anybody. He'd not only let anybody get to the microphone, but he'd actually let them speak, and he'd let them say their piece. He'd let them express their viewpoint, not with the intention of shouting over them, but he'd actually give you a chance to talk or to ask your question. Then he'd do something really interesting. He'd ask whoever was speaking to back up what they were saying with real facts. And I think that's what the enemy hated most of all. Because in an open marketplace of ideas, the truth wins. Always. When ideas are allowed to compete openly with each other, we're allowed to give the best arguments for each one, the truth will win. And I think Charlie Kirk knew that. I think Charlie Kirk allowed that to happen. I think that's why Charlie Kirk was so effective at what he was doing. And that's what the enemy hated. I believe that Charlie Kirk was a martyr. After watching lots and lots of his videos over many years, I believe that he was a Christian. And I believe that he was authentic in his mission to take Jesus and to take biblical ideas into the political arena in modern day America. I believe that was his calling, and I believe that's what he was doing when he was murdered. Right now, it's exciting. I think so many of us feel this excitement because we see tons of people, young people especially, who are rising up, who have been inspired by this terrible event to do more and to make this life count. And because of that inspiration, because of that energy that I see, that's exactly why we need really good counsel in this time. So hear me when I tell you this. God doesn't need you to be Charlie Kirk. God needs you to be you. Charlie's mission was political discourse in the public arena. The question is, what is your mission? The greatest disservice to the kingdom at this time would be if everyone who was inspired by Charlie's death all decided to become great political debaters and, just went to war on X or Facebook or Instagram. Maybe that's the calling for some of us, but I'm certain that there are more parts to the body of Christ than just political debaters. I have no question that that's what Charlie Kirk was called to do. I have no question that other people are called to step into that arena, but it's not all of us. So we need to be careful about the way in which we are inspired by Charlie's death. Charlie Kirk, you know what he did better than anybody else? Well, he was himself. Charlie Kirk was the Charlie Kirkiest of all the Charlie Kirks. He fully stepped into what he was called to be without any fear of man. It's my job to be the Brad Paquettiest of all the Brad Paquettes. It's my job to fully step into my calling without any fear of man. And it's your job to be the you-iest you. Of all the yous, you have to be the you-iest. And you have to step into your calling without any half measures and without any fear. That's how you honor the legacy of Charlie Kirk, and more importantly, that's how you honor the legacy and indwelling of Jesus Christ in you. If God's not calling you to the political arena, that's okay, because that's not the way you need to imitate Charlie. Instead, imitate Charlie in his boldness and in his competency. His boldness. Whatever God is calling you to do it with absolute boldness. If you're hearing this, there's a good chance that you feel called to be a writer. That's why you would follow this podcast. So I want to ask you, what would it look like to pursue that with your full self, without any fear, without any reservation? What would it like to give everything to that 100%? Imitate Charlie in his boldness and imitate Charlie in his competency. Charlie worked to become the best at what he did. He didn't just do it fearlessly, he also did it with excellence. That's why we knew his name. Whatever God is calling you to do, pursue it with excellence. Work hard to become the best at it. Get training, practice, community, support. Whatever it takes to be the best, do it. Lay down your life in pursuit of excellence in whatever God is calling you to do. Now, God created you for a purpose. He's the one that gets to decide what the most authentic version of you is. You know, when I say to become the youiest you, it's not just about what makes you happy, and it's not even just about what you're good at. God is calling you into a specific mission in the kingdom. God gets to say who you are, and that's what you're after. Your job is to shed off all the muck of the world, shed the fear, and step fully into being what God is calling forth in you. There's a good chance that public politics isn't it. There are many parts to this body of believers after all. You know, the enemy would love for you to waste your time on a fool's errand. He would love for you to exasperate yourself. Satan doesn't need you to become a heathen. He just wants you to be distracted. Satan hates that God might use you effectively. So don't let the enemy in this time bait you into wasting your time and emotional energy on something that God hasn't anointed you for. Instead, through prayer and in healthy community, seek the Lord's calling on your life. Be inspired by Charlie, but only imitate him in that he imitated Christ. Chase after the same boldness and competency that Charlie displayed and apply it to everything that God is calling you to be. Submit yourself to the same pursuit of goodness and truth in the world. Then trust God to use your willing heart. Thank you so much for listening today. Please be sure to subscribe to this podcast wherever you listen and leave us a review. This podcast was produced by Theo Paquette with help from the company. For help with your podcast, visit writers.company. We'd love to give you a hand.